Now, stakeholders are calling for coaches at the high school level to be required to have certification in child care and protection. It comes after the revelation that some student athletes have sought the services of a sports psychologist to deal with the pressures of high school sport. Here's part 2 of this story. Sports psychologist Dr. Olivia Rose spoke of the pressures student athletes face, especially when being recruited by other schools for sports purposes in part 1 of this TVJ Sports story. But could some of the anxiety be a result of the practices of some recruiters?
We have a barter system in the country where some schools want to buy the athlete per se. And it's not, we shouldn't go down to that level like we are paying for an individual.
There has been no shortage of stories and anecdotes of unethical recruitment practices in high school sports over the years, but little to nothing in terms of formal complaints or reports. Suggestions have been made in terms of crafting a code of ethics, but that could be more complicated than you think, according to Petersfield High School coach Michelle Woolry.
You have to recognize that sometimes coaching athlete, the coaches don't talk to the athlete directly. Most time the coaches talk to the parent, and as such they are not breaking any laws, any rules or any regulations. So if a parent decides to send his or her child, you can't see the coach break any form of ethical standard because he's communicating with parent and some form of guardian.
Where ethical breaches have occurred, it can be difficult to get parents to report them. So difficult that TVJ Sports tried several times to speak with student athletes for this story, but none were willing to do an interview with us. Children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison believes culture has a strong role to play in this regard.
Let's face it, Jordan, Jamaica is a sporting country. When you talk about football on every corner, track and field, and just the wild fervor and excitement that takes us over whenever there is any kind of track and field event, Jamaica is a sporting nation. And so people usually see the interest that is expressed in a child to join a particular school or a fraternity as being positive. Because if this school, especially if it's one with a good reputation, has an interest in my child to come for, that kind of purpose, it has to be a good thing. So I think because of how it's viewed, in the few cases where you may have some level of discomfort, people don't see it as something that is reportable.
So with the call for ethical considerations getting louder, should coaches and other support personnel at high school level require certification in child care and protection?
Yes, that's absolutely a best practice. And I know from my own discussions with the Jamaica Olympic Association that is an approach that they are very much attracted to across the disciplines. I can say as well, in addition to cricket, which has a fantastic model, which you just mentioned, netball also has a first-rate kind of ensuring that child safeguarding principles are at the forefront of the mind of anyone who has anything to do with netball in Jamaica. And I know the Swimming Association is also, they have expressed an interest in going in that particular direction as well.
And in terms of what sanctions, if any, can be imposed if rules are breached?
The same sanctions that will be applied to the child if people are in violation of the Child Protection Act would be the same sanctions that if you are in breach of these as it relates to children in sport would be applied. However, these would have to be reported and people would have to.
All right, let's take a break now on Primetime Sports Tuesday. Stay with us. We come back with more.